Hi, and welcome to the Hill Law Group podcast. I am Meredith Hill, the owner and founder of the Hill Law Group. We are an estate planning law firm in Bethesda, Maryland, and we serve clients in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And today we have our wonderful paralegal, soon to be lawyer, with us today, Ana Galvez.
Yay. Hi, everyone.
And today's topic that we're going to talk about is reasons why young people need an estate plan. And as you can see, Ana is a young person. She's part of the Gen Z population. And she's going to speak with us about why young people need estate plans. But before we go into that, Ana, I want you to first introduce yourself to the people. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Ana, and I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and then I moved out to Prince George's County. I did my undergrad in English at West Virginia University, and then I attended the Howard University School of Law.
Sorry for the eye roll. The Howard people will let you know that they went to Howard. They will do that.
Yes.
And off to the side is our wonderful attorney, Erica, who also went to Howard, and she's dancing. Anyway, or she was dancing. She's now stopped. Well, thank you for that intro. And let's dive in. Well, before we start into the topic, like what made you interested in estate planning?
So I was interested in estate planning because I took a course at American, and that course really solidified my interest. I believe that it was very non-conventional. It's not something that you would think, oh, everyone wants to go into estate planning, but it was something that also touched me in a personal way. My grandmother passed away in 2016, and she did leave behind a plan. However, it wasn't a well-executed plan. So that is when I kind of understood that there was an importance between having a plan and having a well-executed plan.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, having a well-executed plan is key. I think a lot of times people think it's very easy, and you can just go on the internet and Google will or last will and testament, and they'll find something and try to fill in the blanks. And when it's time to execute the will, that's when people realize that it was a terrible, terrible will, and it was not executed properly. Okay, so let's talk about some reasons why young people, such as yourself, will need estate planning, because that's something that we encounter a lot is, I'm only 25. I don't have that much. I just have student debt. Why do I need an estate plan? So what's a top reason why, how would you respond to that?
Okay, so I do start by saying that having nothing is a misconception. I do really believe that you have something, whether it's, the purse you got at the sale, or it's, the car that you're paying off right now. Something is something. And so I think that we have to start protecting those assets that we slowly start to grow. We may not have real property, but we do have many, many other assets in our control that we all need and all treasure. And so I think the first reason would be to avoid intestacy. Mm-hmm. And pretty much avoiding intestacy means that you're avoiding passing without a plan. Mm-hmm. And without a plan, you would then have to go to the courts, and then the courts will decide where all of your assets go. And this isn't something that many of us want, because we don't want, maybe there are people we don't want having our assets, and there are people we do want having, control of everything that we own. And so I believe that avoiding that and having a plan allows you to have a better say in what you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's important to just talk a little bit about intestacy. And if you don't have an estate plan, wherever you live will make a plan for you. And so those are known as the intestacy laws. And so just like you said, you have a lot more things than you realize. And you can just go around your apartment where you are, wherever you're living, and you can just think about like your jewelry or your journals that you like to journal in. Mm-hmm. What do you want to have happen to that? Do you want your parents reading your journals? Do you want that? No. Or maybe you do. I don't know. If you want that, then put that down. But I would not want my parents seeing that. So you need to make sure you write it down. Because if not, like according to the laws of Maryland, my parents would have an opportunity to see that. In certain circumstances. Right. So that's important. And a lot of times we think that we don't have a lot, but a lot of it is more so sentimental value to people. So it's good if you just itemize or take an inventory of what you own and write down who you want to have it. And then with your money too, even though you might have like $50 in the bank, because you're just starting out, someone wants that $50. Okay. Someone wants it.
I agree.
And so you need to make sure you have a plan for it and it's going somewhere.
I agree.
Yeah. So what would you say is another reason why a young person would need an estate plan?
So I do think that aside from things, we also have people and pets. So many of us, or a good number of us, have children, and then a good number of us don't have children. I know the newer generations are more into pets, and everyone's like, okay, I'm a dog mom, I'm a dog dad, and you passing away unexpectedly leaves these pets in limbo, or it leaves the children in limbo. And an estate plan can definitely designate someone you trust to take care of your children and or your pets. And I think that is one of the most overlooked and most important things, because maybe you don't want your parents raising your children, or maybe you don't want to burden your parents with keeping your pets after you've passed, because maybe your parents don't like pets. I know my parents don't like pets. And so I know that, like, for me, for instance, I'll have my best friend watching my dog. I don't have children, but I have a dog. And, to me, my dog is very important. She's, part of my family and I love her so much. So I do think that these plans definitely solidify those plans that you want to make.
Yeah. And especially for minor children, I mean, people think that people are waiting longer to have children, especially in the DC area where we're located. People are waiting longer and longer, but that's not always the case. And I would advise anyone who has a child under the age of 18 to make sure you have an estate plan in place to name a guardian for your child. Because without that, then the court would decide who would be the guardian of your child. And like you said, they might select your parents, and you might not want your parents to be raising your child. So it's good that you have it written down who you'd want to have be a guardian, and maybe have a backup to that person and a backup to the backup. Make it really crystal clear. And if you know for sure that you don't want a specific person, then you write that in there as well, just to make it very, very clear. And then same with pets. I think you made a good point about sometimes your parents don't want your pets. I don't have a pet, but I just know that my mother would not take a dog that I had, or any type of pet. So I would choose my in-laws to take a pet that I had, because they're much more pet friendly, or a friend or something like that. Or I could leave my pet to you.
I love dogs.
My imaginary dog that I have. And without this plan, like, there's a good chance that your pet might go to the shelter and end up in a situation that you don't want it to be in, because not everybody wants to take in that pet. And then you can make allowances for, giving whoever's watching your pet money to care for the pet.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's chat about another thing that's important in estate planning for minors. It's incapacity and the unpredictability of life. So can you chat a little bit about that?
Okay, so I know that, in your 20s, you think, I'm invincible, I'm indestructible, nothing will happen to me. But we've proven time and time again that is not the case. Some people just don't run with the same luck, and sometimes it's your turn and things happen. And incapacity just means that you are not able to make those decisions for yourself, but you are not at a place where you have already passed away either. So you're in this in-between phase where you may be in the hospital, where you may be at home, but you're not able to be up and moving. And, these things happen, there are accidents, there are many things that happen nowadays where you don't have control over. And, we just have to accept that we don't have control over these things. And because of that, at least we can leave a plan. And with this plan will take control when you're not in control. And I think that that is very, very important.
Yeah, a lot of times people think estate planning is just for after death, but it's also during life as well. So, and it's for those unpredictable circumstances where you do end up in the hospital. You want to be able to have someone making decisions about your healthcare if you're unable to express your wishes to your doctor, or if you want someone to be able to speak to your doctor on your behalf about your healthcare, you can have someone nominated for that as well. So we like to talk to young people or promote that people, especially who are going off to college, really to start thinking about this, because they're 18, they're actually adults, they're leaving their home, they might be going to a different state, going across the country. And if something were to happen to them and their parents were to call the hospital and try to get an update on how their child is doing, the parents are out of the loop because their child is 18 and there's no legal right to have, or in fact, the doctor cannot tell their parents what's happening without the child's permission. And so it's good for college kids to get these documents signed, and they can nominate whoever they want to be in charge of these things and receive information in just a case of emergency situation. Yeah. And same with not just college kids, but people who are in their 20s, early 30s, who are single, don't have kids, who are unmarried. We never know if we become incapacitated. We want to make sure that our affairs are taken care of, we ourselves are taken care of, our bills are paid, our rent is paid, all of that, so that when we have capacity again and we're of sound mind, that everything is still moving seamlessly.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. And it's always in a case of emergency. People always think that you don't need it until they need it.
Yes, that is exactly the case. I've seen it happen so many times where, someone's gotten into a small bike accident and then their parents aren't able to move their funds, or, you just happen to have a tip with your health, and these things just happen, and we can't predict that. We don't know when, we can't pinpoint the date, but, at least the plan will help with everything else.
I agree. Well, I think that we discussed some very important tips and important reasons why young people need estate plans. So if you have any more questions about why you might need an estate plan if you are young, feel free to send us an email at info@thehilllawgroup.com. And if you are interested in working with us and finding out more about our firm, visit our website, which is www.thehilllawgroup.com. And with that, we are going to see you next time. Bye.